Oregon has had one of the best offenses in college football, top-ranked offenses in college football the last couple of years. How can Ted, wait a minute, don't you know things about the Oregon Ducks? How can you expand an offense that is already one of the best in college football? If you look at how Will Stein called offense last year, even in 2023 with Bo Nix, but specifically last season, I think he called it in a little bit of safe mode because of the talent that was Dylan Gabriel. I think when Dylan Gabriel transferred into Oregon, we all knew what he was going to be. He wasn't going to be the biggest and baddest arm talent out there. He was going to be a really good, experienced college quarterback that could get you where you wanted to go. And it got them a Big Ten championship in year number 1 in the conference. But with Dante Moore coming in, he gives you a higher ceiling at the quarterback position. With a quick flick of the wrist, that deep ball down the field, I think, is going to be a lot more prevalent within this Ducks offense, certainly this season. You've got some elite speed on the outside with Evan Stewart. I think he could put up Troy Franklin, possibly type of numbers like he did in 2023. Like, you have this offense in Oregon, quick release of the football, short concepts, medium concepts, sometimes the dismay of Duck fans, these short screen passes that Will had been calling, especially a little bit later on in the season. Now, I think you're going to expand this offense and include a little bit more of the deep ball. And I talk about that high ceiling that the Ducks have with Dante Moore at quarterback. They've got a wide receiver, the number 1 wide receiver in this latest recruiting class, and Decorian Moore coming in. Once again, we're talking about maybe the highest ceiling of an Oregon wide receiver over there. They're expecting him in Duck Country to put up Ryan Williams type of season, maybe a Jeremiah Smith type of season over there at wide receiver. You look at the tight end. Look, they're coming off a guy in Terrence Ferguson who statistically was like one of the top 3 tight ends in Oregon history. But once again, they're expanding and they're getting better with Kenyon Sadiq. PFF ranked him, I think, the number 6 tight end in all of college football. And I think that was a little bit underrated. I think there's another dimension that is coming to this Ducks offense in 2025. And seeing what we hear from Dante, seeing what we hear from Decorian coming out of the spring practice will be the first things that I will look for from the great Oregon reporters. Let's talk about the UCLA Bruins and expanding their offense. Now, if you look at them from a passing perspective last season, they were like middle of the road, 9th in the Big Ten with Ethan Garbers at the controls. I think a big part of them expanding the offense is the upgrade that is taking place at the offensive coordinator position. Gone is Eric Bieniemy. In is Tino Sunseri. He was the quarterback's coach in this Kurt Cignetti coaching staff at James Madison, as well as Indiana last year. He was a big part, when Mike Shanahan, of course, being the offensive coordinator, he was a big part to the offensive success in this system over the last couple of years. And what was the success of not only Tino, but really Indiana last year with the quarterback? They brought in a guy from the group of 5 that put up some good production, and they were able to get the most out of him in this system, jumping up to the Big Ten. The same type of thing is happening here at UCLA. Joey Aguilar transfers in at quarterback from Appalachian State. He threw for over 6,700 yards and 56 combined touchdowns over the last 2 seasons at Appalachian State. I think the pass game is really going to get opened up. I think the pass game is really going to get expanded. And we're going to be talking about some new coordinators here coming up in our next few bullet points. But this is all about install. This is all about getting familiar with the playbook here in spring practice. So getting off to a quick start, I think, is very key for teams like UCLA that is bringing in a new coordinator. Now, a little bit of a bummer for the Bruins. No Caden Robinson, who was one of the top targets for Joey Aguilar over there at Appalachian State. NCAA issue. He's not able to play this year, and then he's just going to enter his name into the NFL draft. But there is some wide receiver talent to work with. And when I saw what Tino Sunseri and the staff did at Indiana, I could maybe see something similar where there's some bodies to work with. And if you have a capable quarterback at the controls, that could be a combination for some good things happening over there at UCLA. LA. Rico Flores, Quasi Gilmer at 345 yards and 2 touchdowns last year. This is my first time saying this name, so I am going to butcher it. Titus Mokiao Atamalala. There it is. 294 yards and a touchdown last year. I've heard some good things out of Titus as well. Mikey Matthews, Jaden Wilson, a couple of transfers from Cal and Arkansas, respectively. So spring is a time to really watch out for in Westwood to see just maybe how ahead of schedule that this offense is going to be. But I think if things really hit their stride in 2025, and if UCLA is able to really rise to the occasion, it's going to be because of this passing offense. I think the combination of the quarterback and the offensive coordinator coming together, which we know that spring is a very important time. These 15 practices are very important. I think that this is a UCLA team that could maybe frustrate some other Big Ten defenses out there as well.